Bliss and power every minute, every hour. I'm Bishop on the scene and set you up over here. See if that's a good view all in all. So I can set up shop, talk a little bit, break a little bread. Hope all is well with you. Sending out prayers to you and the royal family. Hope your world is shaping up ideally for you. Everything is harmonizing, everything is optimizing. All the systems within your mind, within your body are being healed. And being catalyzed in the best of ways. Been a little while. I recorded some videos, but I want to start getting back more steady. We're just creating. Needed to regenerate, replenish. I feel a lot better, a lot focused, a lot more clear. You know, a lot more clarity for sure. So yeah, keep saying a lot. Yeah, a lot. Great. Mucho gusto. Yeah. I wanted to touch on something real quick. Mainly, I just wanted to talk. Like I said, wish you well in all your happenings and all your doings. Yeah, it's been a while since I reached out. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know I had forgot about you. I'm always sending you love, sending you thanks, sending gratitude for all of the prayers, all of the just the great energy that's being sent my way. Because I reflect that back and send it back to you 555 on the time. I set my clock 15 minutes fast, so when I see my numbers, I know it's prime time, align time. So yeah, thank you, gratitude, bliss and power every minute, every hour. Bishop on the scene. Wanted to touch on healing. Healing is a big thing in the communities, in the spiritual world, in the aware world, quote unquote woke individuals, quote unquote. They speak about healing all the time, and it's an interesting thing. This healing that we speak of, because as a Reiki master teacher certified by God's grace, healing and therapies are very much paramount to my journey and my growth. That it was one of the main catalysts, if not the main catalyst, that moved me beyond the constructs of religions, because I went from just theoretical conceptions to really wanting the grounding of these conceptions, of these ideas of healing and being a healer, and this interest, this desire catalyzed me to want more information, want more wisdom. Excuse my background. And just wanted to get more principles grounded in, so that I could actually know healing in realness and not just in theoretical concepts, which is how I ended up getting into crystal healing and sound healing and Reiki healing, energy healing, hands-on, and distant healing as well. And I was in school for massage therapy, but that was for a very, very, very short time, just very, very introductory classes, and then I stepped out of there and just wanted to get more into commercially viable skills, so to speak. Even though that's not what it should be all about, but that's just what my head kind of dialed into, and I attempted that path, building with the Queen, and that went how it went. The thing I'm speaking on is healing, though, and this concept of healing, right? Because it is a concept, and it is a real thing. Obviously, healing is real. There are, and so what exactly are we describing when we're talking about healing, though? Because this is kind of what I want to get into. It can be an elusive sort of thing. It can be an elusive sort of concept, because when is healing healed? When is healing done? So that's almost like saying, like, when is a river done, right? Like, we are currency, we are ever flowing energy, beings and dynamics of energy expression, right? Various facets of energy wavelength form. So this concept of being healed speaks as though there will be a time where the healing Like you're a completed process, right? And this seeking this sort of thing creates a conundrum within people's lives because they feel like they're on this pursuit to get to this completed process that is actually a concept, right? So it's a non-existent thing. It's a illusion to a degree, right? In particular, when we speak on to a degree. When you get into the emotional and physical, the emotional and the mental healing, you know, this is when it becomes very elusive because these are facets of the beingness that are interacted with at very high rates, consistently. So there's an ebb and flow. A faster ebb and flow, I guess, just as like a wave itself. You know, there's a faster ebb and flow waveform or wavelength or revolution in those realms than it is in the physical realm. So when it comes to this healing, you could be healed, and for example, you could be healed in one moment and then go through and be triggered by something that you hadn't been triggered by even in this lifetime. And now you have a whole situation of healing that needs to take place, right? Even though the perception was that you were certainly healed prior to this triggering, but now you just triggered a past life sort of dynamic, you know, that didn't need to be accessed before because the level of grounding wasn't there to be able to handle that level of healing. But now, because of the grounding, you have opened up this pathway to go down this corridor to heal yourself through this timeline and previous timelines. You see what I'm saying? So it becomes, because you have this multifaceted aspect about yourself, it's a very important thing when people get into these judgments and these pounding these gavels of you need healing or you're unhealed, to understand these various facets of this healing process and how it's really a actual process that is a project. You know, it is the project of life, you know, and not saying that you're not going to find your equilibriums, right? You're not going to find your ebbs and flows, your stasis of where, of course, you're balanced out. But it's just this thing, it's just a concept that people aren't really grounded in. And people often project these things, these inadequacies onto people and onto situations so that they can feel adequate and can feel substantial about their stance. They can feel like they're in a authoritative position to make a decision on a situation, right? And because they're doing this, they're unfortunately causing people who may not be all the way grounded or are not all the way solid in their understanding. They're causing people to have to go back and reflect and recalibrate because they've heard commentary that has disrupted their equilibrium unexpectedly because they were open. They unfortunately left themselves open to it. And this obviously speaks to the individual as well, having to do that work, more of that work. But it's just, it becomes a cycle of perpetuation of people can inadvertently cause more trauma promoting this need for healing rather than promoting rather than promoting the stasis of healing, the empowering people with the balancing tools, with the full spectrum conversation that creates healing and doesn't create holes in people's own individual concepts. Easily, obviously, you know, like I said, it speaks again to the individual, that the actual subject itself, if they allow themselves to be if they allow their shields and their guards to be, you know, subdued, it's that individual's obviously fault, and that's the work that they need to do. But it's also, we need to be mindful as those who are in the co-experience seat, we need to be mindful of what we're projecting out here and what we're sharing with people. You know, it's a responsibility of people to make sure that they're honoring their expressions of energy in the best way so that it's not causing more harm in society. Despite you having been harmed and you haven't been spoken to inconsiderately, it does not mean that you need to take that same energy and that same approach to someone else and feel justified by doing it because that's what was done to you. And this really speaks to these levels of maturity that need to be reached. You know, they need to be reached. People are so quick to go into this space of retaliatory, like a subtle retaliatory thing, you know. And we got to get out of that. You know, we got to start loving each other and caring about each other. Really start appreciating each other. Really start pouring into each other. Really start catalyzing the best in each other. You know, despite how you were done. It's not about how you were done. It is about how you were done, and your story needs to be heard and needs to be honored as well. But going forward, you have to be mindful about how you're, you know, considering other people and how you're, what type of seeds you're planting in people's stories. Yes, you can be clear and authentic and transparent, but understand how you're doing it. Because people are very quick to make a decision that their authenticity justifies them being toxic. You see what I'm saying? And people are very quick to do this when it's like, no, you were being inconsiderate. You were being inconsiderate. You're supposed to be on this side. If you're on this side of the spectrum, we shouldn't be moving in the same way of the other, like the other side of the spectrum, where they are the inconsiderate ones. They are the ones who feel like projecting trauma is okay and sensible. You know, it's like, no, we should be strong enough and powerful enough to transmute when we need to and consistently bring forth expressions of empowerment and joy and catalyzing growth in people, not through harming them and then they have to go through the healing process. That's catalyzing growth as well. So I needed to clarify this. This is what people have done. I've seen them do it. I've had these conversations with folks as they try to justify this sort of healing method. And it's like, hold up. First of all, you a whole freaking woman, so you should know better than this. You should know better than that there are various ways to catalyze healing, and being considerate and supportive and emotionally supportive goes a long way in doing that, and not just reflecting the type of inconsideration that you were given as you've gone on your process. So, yeah, I really wanted to touch on this healing, these healing dynamics, this healing stuff. You know, and healing is very paramount and it's very critical, but it becomes an elusive sort of thing where people, they keep going through this ebb and flow, not understanding that it's a cycle. It's like bodybuilding. This is one of the major thoughts that came to me that made me want to speak on it. It's like bodybuilding, right? Bodybuilding, like you rarely hear from bodybuilders that they are, the pain does not stop. Like they are in constant pain. Professional athletes the same way. Professional bodybuilders, professional athletes, physical fitness instructors. You know, certain professional athletes though, you bodybuilders, you ask them, you talk to them, and they'll tell you, you know, that pain doesn't really stop. It doesn't really stop. They're excellent. They've grown extraordinarily. They've developed muscles and developed skills and abilities and dexterity that few have ever even considered would be possible. But most of them will tell you, if not all of them will tell you, that pain it does not stop. The pain of developing that skill and their muscles to these levels of excellency that is so celebrated throughout the world also comes with the weight of the pains of the practices of the consistently going into these modes of intensities, you know, and enforcing the boundaries, enforcing the limitations of oneself over and over again. You know, this comes with a pain that is kind of steady and is actually consistently present. And you learn to just bear with the pain and bear with that, because that should come with the territory of the greatness that you have chosen to embody through your actions, you know, not just your words, but through your decisions, your consistent decisions and your consistent actions. So this in turn correlates to those of us who have developed a certain level of spiritual knowingness, a certain level of self-knowingness, because that's all what it boils down to, a certain level of self-awareness. This self-awareness comes with a certain level of and not excusing it and excusing people's disposition, but it comes with a certain level of, like, you know, inherent, like, not necessarily anger, um, um, and pain, but it's an understanding of certain elements to where you're not deer eyed, especially as divine masculine. This is what I'm speaking of, superior man, divine masculine aspects. I can't speak on how a woman should be maneuvering, but I'm speaking about this embodiment. It's not like, the doe eyes, and that is not necessarily for a melanated man in America. That's not necessarily the best embodiment of a divine masculine, so to speak. Not saying that you should need to be, Rambo out here either. It's a certain balance that we have to carry as well. So this may be perceived as a certain type of disposition to various types of people, but it's like you need to first understand who it is you're speaking with before you make these judgments, before you make these accusations of who a person is and what they should be doing in their life and who they are. You know what I mean? And this is where the judgments come in. You need to understand who people are before you try to make these sorts of accusations and these judgments and these decisions about who you consider a person to be and how they're maneuvering, whether it's, whatever. It's like, and that's why you lead with love, and that's why you can make sure that you're speaking to people in consideration of who they are and who you're learning them to be. So because each person is a multifaceted flower of discovery, a crystal that's unfolding before your eyes to the levels that you're able to perceive those revelations. So honor people and just appreciate them for who they are and allow them to reveal themselves to you, rather than you try to make a decision and a judgment on who they are, because they're going to show you who they are through their dialogue, through their actions, and how they treat you. They're going to show you. And that's what I always try to take into account with people. Is really, certainly I take their stories into account, what they're choosing to share with me, because I resonate with truth. So because of this, people are very apt to share everything with me about themselves without me having to ask them, because I resonate with this truth. But in doing so, they may not always be, they're not always even aware of what they're sharing sometimes. The depth of what they're sharing, and I'm excited to just listen to them and be a part of these revelations that a lot of times I know that they haven't spoken to anybody about. They even oftentimes tell me this. They've never shared this thing with anybody. So I appreciate that, and I don't judge them out of hope, but I'm also just mindful of who I allow into my world, as you should be. Be mindful of what you allow your senses to see and come across, because it really does affect the beingness. But above all, stay creative, keep growing yourself. Don't allow yourself to be caged or boxed in by people's perception of you, their opinion of you. Continue to grow yourself and know yourself, learn yourself, be the best version of yourself, and enjoy your life. Enjoy this experience, enjoy this incarnation. Learn what your soul has chosen to incarnate, to experience. Make that first and foremost, make that paramount in your life. Look into your North Node and your astrological charts. Look into your Vedic charts as well, but get into your North Node of your astrological chart. Look at your house placements. Look at the placements in your chart. See if you have a stellium, and just try to focus on developing your soul and understanding your soul, and knowing that the experiences that you've had in this lifetime are not accidental. Anything that you've ever heard, anything that you've ever seen is not accidental. And it's a key perspective in your opportunity to heal and grow your soul, because those things have been magnetized to your life, to your experience, because they're making a record of opportunity. So because you've drawn it to yourself, take time to investigate what those words are, where those words come from, where that thing originated, because you'll be surprised at how deeply it can correlate to like who your soul actually is, not just in this incarnation, but in many incarnations. So, and that's a blessing to experience. You really want to be able to put those, put put a quote unquote Humpty Dumpty back together again. Because yeah, you're a multifaceted, multidimensional being, extraordinary in every account, and I always know that. So, bliss and power every minute, every hour. I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to touch on that and just break some bread. Like I said, excuse the background. I just wanted to just break some bread on the healing conundrum that I often hear. But much healing, much grace, much joy into your life, into your world, into your connections, healing into your body, into your mind, into your soul. May every decision that you make be in alignment with your soul's growth, with the best version of the desires of your heart. May all of your relationships be harmonized and be catalyzed into greatness. And may you have the best relationship with your tribe and your coworker and your families and your environments, and may every system within your physical body be in alignment and be in harmony and be optimized. Right? May every dream that you have in your heart of hearts, may it find its way into the greatest version of your experience. May that be continued to reflect throughout various people in your world and in your life. So I send bliss and power to you as always. Commit to the grid, commit to the great. Bishop Gangus Quan signing off. Keep doing what you're doing, shining how you're shining.